Hello students, in today's class we are going to start with a new chapter, circulatory system. Let us first study about its introduction. Let us take its introduction first. The cardiovascular system is the transport system of the body. It comprises blood, heart and blood vessels. The system supplies nutrients to and remove the waste products from various tissues of the body. The conveying media is the liquid in the form of blood which flows in the closed tubular system. Now we move on to the function of cardiovascular system. So the first function states that it transports the nutrients and the hormones. It removes the waste product. It helps in gaseous exchange. It provides immunity to the body. The blood vessels transports the blood and carries oxygen and carbon dioxide, as well as it also carries the nutrients and the waste, while the heart pumps blood through blood vessels. So now we move on to the parts of the circulatory system. There are three parts: circulatory medium, that is blood, tissue fluid and lymph; blood vessels, those are arteries, veins and capillaries; and the pumping organ, which is heart. We'll talk about the liquid medium first. We'll talk about the blood first. So the blood consists of blood cells and plasma. Blood cells are of three types. First one is RBC, next is WBC, and the third one is platelets. RBC is also known as erythrocyte, WBC is also known as leukocyte, and platelet is also known as thrombocyte. While the plasma is considered to be the fluid portion of blood. So let us talk about plasma first. Plasma is composed of 90% of water, 1 to 2% of inorganic salts, and 7 to 8% of organic compounds. The function of plasma is that it helps in taking the nutrients, protein, and hormones to different parts of the body that need it. Why does this happen? As we all know that plasma is the fluid portion of the blood and it helps in the movement of blood to different parts of the body. So the blood already contains these nutrients, proteins and hormones. So because of the movement it is which is taking place due to plasma, these nutrients are also transferred to various part of the body. So plasma is basically responsible for movement of the blood to various parts of the body, and hence it leads to transportation of nutrients, proteins and hormones. So just now we discussed there are three cellular elements of the blood: RBC, WBC and platelets. We will talk about RBC first. So in this portion we will talk about the shape and the size of RBC. RBC is having the biconcave shape. It is having a biconcave shape and it is flat in the center and thick and rounded at the peripheries. It is very small, of about 7 micron in diameter. The small size helps it in absorbing excess. The small size plus this shape, biconcave shape, helps it in absorbing maximum amount of oxygen. And the small size also helps it in going through the fine capillaries in the body. It helps it to travel through the capillaries. Now we move on to lifespan of RBC. So here we study about the lifespan of RBC. The RBC, first thing, it is composed, it is produced in the marrow of long bones like ribs, breastbone, ilium of hip girdle. While in case of embryo, it is produced in liver and spleen. So this question comes, where is RBC produced? In case of adults, So in case of adults, it is produced in the marrow region of long bones, while in case of the embryo, case of the developing embryo, they are produced in the liver and the spleen. While in case of children, the RBC are again produced in the bone marrow of all the bones until 5 years of age. The mature RBC do not have the nucleus. The mature RBC is not containing any nucleus, because as they mature, they lost the nucleus and they become enucleated. Enucleated means no nucleus is present in it. Its lifespan is about 120 days, and when they become old, they become weak, they get destroyed in the spleen, liver and bone marrow. So the question comes, where is RBC getting destroyed? So RBC is destroyed in the spleen, liver and bone marrow region. In normal adult, approximately 20 million RBCs are destroyed every minute. In other words, we can say about 1% of total erythrocytes in the body are destroyed every day. Now we'll talk about the mammalian red blood cells and what are the factors making them more efficient. What are the factors making RBC more efficient? So, the first factor is that it lacks nucleus. Due to the loss of nucleus, due to the lack of nucleus, when they attain the maturity, they lack nucleus. So, this increases their surface area and it helps them in attaining more of the oxygen content. This increases the surface area and helps in attaining more of the oxygen content, as well as space in between is increased and more of the RBC can be accommodated in the same space. Then the another factor is that there is no mitochondria. They lack mitochondria. So this means that red blood cells cannot use this oxygen for themselves. All the oxygen will be transported to the tissues which are unconsumed. It will be transported to the tissues. Now the another factor is that there is no endoplasmic reticulum, means the flexibility of RBC for their movement will be increased. So there will be no endoplasmic reticulum, means the increased flexibility of RBC for their movement will be there, so that they can easily go through the narrow capillaries. Next, we move on to another type of a blood cell, which is white blood cell, also known as leukocyte. We studied in RBC that it is having a biconcave shape, but WBC is not having some particular shape. They are having irregular shape. There is no fixed shape in case of WBC. Red blood cell was having a red color, that is why it is named so. That red color was because of the hemoglobin content, and the oxygen which is getting absorbed by the RBC is also because of the hemoglobin. This hemoglobin content in RBC helps in binding the oxygen and absorbing the oxygen. It binds the oxygen which is being absorbed by the RBC. So as RBC was having red color, WBC is colorless. RBC were produced in bone marrow in case of adults, while in the embryo it is produced in the liver, while in case of WBC they are produced in the bone marrow region. There are two types of WBC, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Now let us study about granulocytes and agranulocytes. So granulocytes are those RBC which are having the granules. They contain granules in their cytoplasm. While those who do not contain the granules in the cytoplasm, they are considered to be non-granular non-granular WBC. They are also known as agranulocytes. Okay. So we'll talk about granulocytes. So there are three granulocytes: neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils. The easy way to learn it is which I am giving you a trick. You can use it: NEB, neutrophil, eosinophil, and basophils. So neutrophils. This is the structure of a neutrophils, eosinophils, which is observed under microscope after staining them. Then this is of a basophil. So when the structure was observed, it was seen that the nucleus was there with 3 to 4 lobes. It was granular and stains with neutral dyes. It stains with neutral dyes. That is why the name is given neutrophils. While when the structure of eosinophil was observed under microscope, it was seen that the nucleus was with 2 lobes and the cytoplasmic granules were large, and it used to stain dark red with eosin. Eosin is an acidic dye. It used to give the dark red color only with the dye eosin, which is the acidic dye. So that is why it is given the name eosinophils. Then the structure of basophils was observed under microscope, and it was seen that the nucleus was large and distinctly lobed, while the granules stain with basic dyes. The granules show when they are stained with basic dyes, then they show the color, and this basic dye used here is methylene blue. So since the basic dye is used over here, so they have been given the name basophils. Now we move on to the functions of it. So the function of neutrophils. The function of neutrophil is phagocytosis. If you remember, I have already taught you in class 9. Phagocytosis is the process in which WBC engulf the foreign particles. They engulf the foreign particles and break them into small pieces and digest them. So, what do the neutrophils do? They engulf the bacteria by the process of phagocytosis and digest them. Then the function of eosinophils is that it either engulfs the bacteria or it secretes the antitoxins. It is also associated with allergy. It releases the antitoxins which kills the harmful substances or foreign organism. Then it releases now basophils. Now basophil is performing a special process. Now what it does, when the foreign particles enters the body, what it does, I'm explaining you with the help of diagram I'm making. Suppose this is the blood vessel and the foreign particle has entered into the body. So what it will do, that these basophils which is present over here, suppose basophil is present here, what it will do, it will release certain chemical substance known as histamine. It will release a chemical substance known as histamine. It will release histamine, which will help it in coming out of this blood vessel. Again, I am explaining. A foreign particle has entered into the body, foreign organism has entered into the body, and the basophils are present in the blood vessels. So these are the basophils. So what it will do, the basophil will release a chemical known as histamine and come out of this blood vessel, because this histamine helps it in dilating the blood vessel, and it comes out and it attacks the foreign particle. This process of coming out of the blood vessel, this process of basophils coming out of the blood vessels and attacking the foreign particle is known as diapedesis, is known as diapedesis. Now we'll talk about where these are produced. So we have already talked about it. All these WBC is produced in the bone marrow. So all are having the common point that all are produced in bone marrow. All the WBC, whether it be granulocytes or agranulocytes, are produced in bone marrow. Now we move on to the agranulocytes. Just now we discussed they are known as agranulocytes because the cytoplasm do not contain the granules. They are without the granules. So there are two types of agranulocytes, lymphocytes and monocytes. Lymphocytes, when the structure was observed under microscope, it was seen it was the smallest of all the WBC, and it has a single large nucleus, while monocytes nucleus was large kidney shaped. At the site of infection, it transformed into macrophages. Now, what is the function of lymphocyte? Lymphocyte produces antibodies. Now, what are antibodies? Antibodies acts against the toxin substances. Antibodies acts against the antigen. Now, what is this antigens? Antigens are the substances which are causing harm to the body. So antigen are disease causing organism, and there are different antibodies for different antigens. So when the antigen is entering the body, then the antibodies are released against that antigen and destroy that antigen. So these antibodies are produced by lymphocytes. Now we'll talk about the function of monocytes. Monocytes helps in the process of phagocytosis, and it ingests the enzyme, ingests the germs, and damages the foreign particle. Here are the common functions of all the WBC. WBC helps in destroying the solid substances like germs, especially bacteria, by engulfing them. So by doing this, they are providing immunity to the body. They are protecting from the diseases. Then WBCs also fight against disease-causing germs and destroy the damaged cell by the process of phagocytosis by engulfing the foreign germs. They also help in formation of antibodies which neutralizes or kills the germs that enter our body. They attack against the antigen which are harming our body. Now we move on to the third type of blood cell, which will be platelet, or it is also known as thrombocytes. They are also colorless like WBC, but they have either oval or round shape. Then they are containing the cytoplasmic fragments. Then they found floating in the blood. They are considered to be enucleated. They also lack the nucleus. They lack nucleus, and their major function is blood clotting. Blood clotting means whenever we get hurt, then the blood clot is developed there, which prevents the blood excess of blood from coming out, and hence we are protected from it. So this blood clotting is being done by platelets, and the lifespan of these platelets are 5 to 10 days. It is about 5 to 10 days. Now there are certain blood diseases here. The increase in number of RBC more than the normal is known as polycythemia. The decrease in RBC count is known as erythrocytopenia. An enormous increase in WBC at the cost of RBC is known as leukemia, which is very common these days. It is commonly heard that a person has suffered from blood cancer. Why this happens? When the WBC count increases more than the normal, then also it is very harmful because they start occupying the space of RBC. So this leads to lack of RBC, and hence there will be lack of oxygen content in the body. So this leads to disease known as leukemia or blood cancer. A decrease in WBC count is known as leukopenia, while the decrease in WBC count is leukopenia. Now this flow chart is showing the complete process of blood clotting. Now what happens when the tissue gets injured? Suppose this is the injured part. So when certain tissues get injured, then the platelets, they start releasing thromboplastin or thrombokinase enzyme. They release thrombokinase enzyme, and this thrombokinase enzyme will convert the prothrombin. What is prothrombin? Prothrombin is present in an inactive state, and it is present in blood plasma. It is present in the inactive state. Prothrombin is the inactive state, and it is present in blood plasma. So thrombokinase converts this prothrombin into thrombin, which is the active state. So prothrombin is converted into thrombin, which is the active state, by thrombokinase enzyme, and calcium ions are also playing a role in conversion of prothrombin to thrombin. Now, thrombin is the active part of thrombin is the active part, and now it will be acting as the enzyme, and it will be converting the fibrinogen. It will be converting the fibrinogen into fibrins. Again, I am repeating the entire process. What happens when a tissue gets injured? Then thrombokinase or thromboplastin is being released, which acts as an enzyme and converts the prothrombin, which is the inactive state. Prothrombin is an inactive state, and it is present in the blood plasma. In the presence of calcium ion and thrombokinase, prothrombin is converted into thrombin, which is an active state. And now this thrombin acts as an enzyme, and it converts the fibrinogen into and this fibrin is the small thread-like structure. It forms a thread-like network mesh around that region and helps in clotting of blood. Thank you.